Hey there, everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about how to make your graphs for your Safe Water Finders project. So at this point, you should have seen the different resources that you have. So you have different water sources that you're analyzing for your project. And we are going to use the data in that document that gives us all the raw information. And we're going to plug that into this data table in order to actually analyze it, because that's what we do in science, right? We see numbers and then we put them in a way that's more meaningful for us to interpret. So that's what this video is about. Now, the cool thing about the data tables that are already designed for you is you just need to fill in some of the basic information, but there's really simple tricks of the trade to do to make graphing super easy. So when you're going to graph your very first data table, so at this point, you should have already filled in these numbers based on the water sources information. If you haven't done that yet, stop the video, go do that now, because you can't do this without the data. Notice that there's no units in these boxes. Anytime you use the graph function in Google Sheets, you can't have any letters in these cells. It has to be numbers only. So once I have all that filled in, and you can see my water sources are different than your water sources, but essentially we're still graphing similar information. So I'm going to highlight my entire data table, and that includes the title of the graph. So I'm going to click and drag to highlight the whole thing. And you can see all of the cells that I want are highlighted. Now I'm going to go up to Insert, and I'm going to insert a chart. So when I insert a chart, you can see it's got that little image of a bar graph next to it. That's what I'm going to be looking to make. Now it should, pop up my bar graph. And notice it's a bar graph, not a line graph. Bar graphs are used for nominal data. We're comparing things with names, and that's what nominal data is. Now, the cool thing about Google Sheets is it already fills in a lot of things for us. We already have each water source at the bottom. We have our x-axis title. That's beautiful. It's wonderful. We've got the different colors for the lead with pipes only and the lead levels with pipes treated with FBE. Wonderful. It even has our units up there. But we are missing a couple things. For instance, the title right now does not match the actual title of our data table. I need to go in and manually change that. I'm also missing my y-axis title. So there's a couple things we can do in order to make sure that's happening. So I'm going to go over to my chart editor. So it's over on the right-hand side of your screen. Everything in this setup portion is already set up for us. We don't need to change any of that. We want to go to Customize. Now our chart style, you can alter your chart style if you want. If you want to make it 3D, go for it. Oh, that looks fun. If you want to change the border color or the background color, you can as well. All I ask is please make it super easy to interpret. Don't pick colors that are hard on the eyes. So once you're done with customizing it, we're going to go to our chart and axis titles. Now right now, our chart title says lead levels with pipes only PBB and lead levels with pipes treated with FBE PBB. Now that doesn't necessarily say anything about my water sources. So this isn't a super accurate title. So I'm going to click and I'm going to delete all of that because that's not what I want my title to be. But if I look at my data table, that has a beautiful title that's explaining what data I'm looking at. So I'm going to just type in lead levels in different water sources based on pipe treatments. I saw a quick typo there. Ooh. And boom. Now I have a nice title that actually describes my data. It's talking about pipe treatments, which is absolutely what we're comparing, but we're also overall comparing our different water sources. So that has to be part of our title. So we have our chart title, and now I remember we're missing our y-axis title. So I'm going to click on chart title, and now you can see these different options that we have. So if I wanted to add a subtitle, I could in this case, saying that it's for this location, but I'm not going to. It's not necessary for our particular task. There's a horizontal axis title. I am going to click on that just because a personal preference. I like to bold and italicize my titles so they stick out a little bit more. And then my vertical axis title, this is the one that we're missing and the one that we have to add. So I'm going to click on vertical axis title. Now, when we're filling out our vertical axis title, we have to remember what is our dependent variable, because that's what goes on that vertical axis. And you can see we've got the numbers 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. All of those things are the things that we are measuring. And based on what we're seeing here, and even look at your blue and your red subtitles or your legend, it says lead levels with pipes only. So lead levels is what I'm measuring, and that's what we're going to put in that vertical axis title, lead levels. And one really important part is you want to include your units. Units are super important so that people know what you're talking about. So in these titles, it also says PBB, and that's what I'm measuring. So I'm gonna go PBB for sure. Look, I did it. Now I'm gonna bold and italicize so it stands out. And now I have a beautiful axis title. Yeah. So now we have a really nice looking chart. There's a couple other things you can do if you want to. If you click on series, you can change the different colors. So like you can see lead levels with pipes only, that's blue. And then my lead levels with pipes treated with FBE. Maybe you're thinking, I don't want red. Maybe you want a little teal action. And then so it's a little more water-based colors. I think that's great. You can change those colors, just again, make sure that they stand out and it's very clear which one is which. The last thing that I'm going to change is my legend. So it has auto, and in fact, you know what? I'm not going to change my legend. I take that back. No legend changing for us. We right now have a beautiful graph. This can be used in your presentation. In fact, it should be used in your presentation. So make sure that you copy and paste that so that you can compare your different graphs to all of the information that you have so that the City Council knows exactly what you're talking about. So use the graphs. Super important in science. That's a way better way to portray data. That's it for our first video, everybody. Thank you for watching and enjoy.